Hi folks, welcome to Calling with John on Friday. Actually, this is take two. I recorded one which, in my humble opinion was absolutely brilliant. And when I went to put it on the computer, realized that my mic had run out of battery. So I have to start again. And this will never be as good, but actually, in a way, how can you not look at the verse that we're going to look at and not be stunned by it and not be encouraged by it? So, just to explain for anyone who's new, and there have been some new people recently, what we're doing is we're going through First John pretty well verse by verse. And we take 4 to 5 minutes. Today I'll be really pushing it to do it in 5 minutes. Reflecting on what this means for us, what it means and what it means for us. And 1 John 3:1, well, let's just read it. See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. The reason the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Now, in the next verse, which we'll look at on Monday, he goes on to say, dear friends, which is the phrase agapetoi. And agape is the love of God that God has for his people. And agapetoi is the love that we have for one another. And I think that is, I think that's a beautiful thing. Now, in the verse that we've got, see what great love, I prefer the AV, behold, because it's an imperative, it's a command, it's not just an observation, it's a kind of stare in wonder type thing. And what kind of love is literally from what sort of country? So I remember being in a situation once where there was somebody who'd been doing a talk or a debate, and their opponent was just a bit stunned and said to the moderator afterwards, where did he come from? Where did you get him from? And that's the same kind of explanation here. You see this love, where did this come from? It's unlike anything other. The love of a mother for a child. No, it's unlike that. It's more than that. The love for country, it's more than that. The love for friends, it's more than that. This is an extraordinary love that no matter what relationships you are in, this goes deeper and is stronger and is more important. It's in just a completely different category altogether. And then it's demonstrated that we should be called children of God. Now, if you interact with John's Gospel, John's letters and John's Gospel, you'll of course know that John chapter 1, that Christ came into the world, the Word became God, the Word was God and came into this world, and that we might give us the right to become the children of God. And that's the idea of adoption. And adoption is such an important thing because we don't have a right to belong to God's family. We have no legal rights. We have nothing. And yet God adopts us into his family. And it's a love that's not a kind of reciprocal love. And what I mean by that is God doesn't look at us and say, well, I love her because she did this. I love him because he is that. I think an awful lot of us are still trapped in this idea, if only I do this, if only I'm good enough on this, if only I develop this characteristic, then God will love me or God will love me more. But that's not what it is. This is an absolute unconditional love. It's hard to accept that, really. We want to try and persuade God to love us, but I find it enormously liberating that we don't have to do that. Maybe one other thing, I've got David Jackman's book here on 1 John, and I love this. He lavishes his love on all his children, says Jackman. That does not mean that he spoils us by giving us more than he knows will be good for us, nor that he is undemanding about our service for him or unconcerned about our failings and weaknesses. He loves us too much to let us get away with them. But it is a father's love, perfect in its understanding and compassion, and exactly suited to the child's personal and individual need. It's a father's love, perfect in its understanding and compassion. And that's what we are. It's really hard to explain to a non-Christian what a Christian is. And don't reduce it to cliche or memes. It's almost too good to be told. I mean, I think of it in this way. How do you explain the taste of coffee to somebody who's never tasted coffee? Well, how do you explain the taste of being a child of God to somebody who's never had that? The reason the world does not know us is that it did not know him. I think I remember, well, I do remember, the very first Bible study I ever did in our house, and one of my friends was there, a school friend, a girl. There were several of us, and I was talking about the love of God from 1 Corinthians 13 and from 1 John. And she just looked at me and said, wow, I want that. Well, as we come towards Christmas, isn't that the greatest gift of all? So, hopefully, reflect on that. Just realize if you're a believer how loved you are, and if you're not a believer, it's on offer for you. And reflect on all of that. And then hopefully see you again on Monday. God bless you. Bye.